Buongiorno, bikers. I'm Faraxen and currently being beaten the shit out of me by a trans woman. I've recently got my eyes on the fighting game genre due to people showing me how they are played and it fascinated me. Grazie, Schiacci. I was eager to play a fighting game with actual people playing it and not Street Fighter V, considering the fact that I started playing Street Fighter V when Street Fighter VI was already out, so the player base was dead, no one was playing it, and the last fighting game that I've played was Tekken 5 on the PlayStation 2. Then one day I'm jump scared with this.
Mankind knew that not to survive.
And I knew that I was going to buy it. I patiently waited for the DLC to come out, and so I buy both Guilty Gear and Lucy for a grand total of 27 euros. If I can use a dead meme, it will be stocks. But there's still a problem. I don't know how to play a fighting game. Like I said before, I played Street Fighter V, but what I've done was just completing the story and losing matches. And before Street Fighter V, I played Tekken 5 when I was like 4. Also, for returning to Street Fighter V, I played the Street Fighter 1 arcade of Ryu and didn't even manage to beat Sagat. Of course, I'm referring to the arcade mode of Street Fighter V that makes you play the story of Street Fighter 1, but still, I didn't finish that. So I decided to give me a week to win a match in online and demonstrate to myself that I can play a fighting game. Before I continue, please subscribe, it's free and you can always take it back. So I start with the tutorial. And I'm happy to see that there aren't as many buttons as there are in Street Fighter, because Street Fighter is a classic fighting game where you have light, medium, heavy buttons for punches, kicks. But here you just have jab, kick, heavy and heavy slash. They are very clear and that's it. So after doing the tutorial, I decided to try the story mode. And the Guilty Gear players already know what I'm going to say. It's that there is no story mode, and I found out like after an hour because I thought that I was supposed to wait for something doable in game. So yeah, basically the story mode is a movie. It's an anime with episodes and breaks. That's it. There is no story mode, actual story mode. There is arcade that is also canon, if I remember correctly, but it's not like Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, where there's an actual story mode with a story that you have to follow, I guess. Of course, I've started to play the arcade. I mean, there is no story mode. Of course, there is the arcade. So after doing the tutorial and a bit of training to understand Lucy's moveset, that's of course, that will be enough. Okay, I'll do the story missions. Unfortunately, the tutorial, because I don't want to count those 2 minutes of telling you what the buttons are, tutorial, that's an introduction for fuck's sake, is kind of a hit or miss. You see, there's a common issue in tutorials for these kinds of games, which is that they tell you you have a thing in your kit without making you using it that much. Strive does make your opponent do the thing, but for the easier tutorials, like bursts, Roman cancels, etc., it's basically you just have to push the button to use it and leaves it to you to remember them, which is not the best, in my opinion. It should make you actually use against a more intelligent CPU so that you actually remember what you are using and why is it so useful. A couple of lines of text aren't as great as actually doing the thing that you're supposed to do. I hope that came out right. I did the first 16 tutorials and some of them I did multiple times just to be sure. So I went to arcade and...
Okay.
Ah, Okay, I'll do the others. Oh my god, there's like 30 of them, please. So, after doing more of these tutorials, I tried the arcade and the results were interesting. Just by doing the first two, quote-unquote, packs of tutorials, I managed to beat Sol and get my shit beat by Axel, but that's because I didn't know his moveset. So I finished the two with a little bit more hope in my heart. So I decided, of course, to continue the tutorials and try to continue the arcade with Lucy. I fight, and I fight, but I'm winning. And while doing so, I feel it. I understand what I'm doing. I mean, sure, it's a bot, so I'm not reading an actual human being, but I'm still making decisions. If I see block, I grab. If they stay at a distance, I shoot. If they come closer, I slash, and so on. I continue my murder spree until I reach the final chapter, the one against Asuka. That man, the devil, what the fuck? Yes, this guy is actually called the devil by many characters and is basically the reason why the game happens, not just Strive, but Guilty Gear in general. I beat him quite easily, to be honest, because the CPU didn't use all of his moves and it's standard difficulty, and also I have a lot of range option to close the gap between me and him. So I finished the arcade, I beat the final boss, and that's it. I leave this universe, I go back to Night City, but no, Asuka actually wants a rematch before I leave, and I gladly give it to him. But there's a twist.
Duel 1. Let's rock. Counter.
Sorry for the singing, it's just that I really like Cyberpunk, both the game and the anime, so playing a fighting game with that song just got me. I couldn't resist. I'm sorry. So anyway, yes, the objective. I decided to try and go for a quick match, and after noticing that I didn't find the match in almost 10 minutes, I concluded it must be a bad time, almost 1 AM, so I thought that because I'm playing in the EU servers, it was a bit too late, so I decided to go to bed and end day 3. Trees. Okay, I decided that I would just click quick match and great, this isn't working. Might this mean that I should do the unthinkable? But I just started. I will get my shit stomped, but fine. I'd lose either way. So I press ranked match and I find a match rather quickly. Oh, it's the funny trans person I see everywhere. It's nice to see that people actually play her. The match begins. I feel my heart in my throat for the excitement and that felt great. The reads, me doing stuff that I was actually understanding, a bunch of lucky hits, but I was using what I learned both in the tutorials and the arcade. So, trying to chase this feeling, I play a rematch and
Slap. Slap.
Ogni volta.
Slap.
okay, I'm not a prodigy, but I feel something in my skin. Are those oops?
That's just me. Nobody needs a plan for a fate. I don't be fake.
Keep it real. Keep it real.
I get a good vibe.
Keep it real. Keep it real.
Oh, don't get me wrong, I lost a lot of those, but I won some of them. So now what? It's only day 4 and I've already reached my goal. Fun fact that it didn't actually exist while I was playing. Yes, me, Farax, I've tricked you. Day 5 and 6 go, and I've noticed that I'm in the bottom of the ranks. I've even reached 1 point, like the least amount of points that you can have, because I was playing so bad. So this time I actually gave myself a real objective, which is reach Iron 2 before the PS Plus. Why so specific, you may ask? Well, there's Monster Hunter Rising there, and I will make a video about it. You know, I never played a Monster Hunter game before, and I want to try it. Anyway, back on topic. I don't actually have much to tell you, but rather something to show you. You see, something that I kept until now was that I banned tutorial videos so I can't watch them, and in general I've also banned general gameplays of Lucy so that I could understand her kit on my own. Oh, fun fact, it fucking worked. I discovered a combo by myself, and even if it was not that effective, it worked quite good at the end of the day. So I'll just leave and let you show some of my matches until I arrive to my objective with some of this game top-notch music.
Mankind knew that they cannot change society. So instead of reflecting on themselves, they blamed the beasts. But they found beauty in the lives of beasts and couldn't lie to themselves about it.
Can't you see I'm blazing? Still my heart is blazing. If the words kill me, I don't need a new world after you. My time is my word. Your words will never let me disappear. That is bullshit blazing. Still my heart is blazing. If the words kill me, I don't need a new world after you. Soon you will know. We already know the smell of the, know the smell of the, know the smell of the, know the smell of the game.
Ah, ce l'ho fatta, sì! È un rango del cazzo, ma non mi interessa. Sì, oh, bello! Ah, e con che ossa concludere, mamma mia, questo cazzo di Come ho fatto a non giocare a un fighting game fino ad adesso?
Playing a fighting game is something that made me rediscovered what being competitive feels like. I always wanted to play a competitive game, but I never had a chance. You see, my main genre of online games are shooters and RPGs like Dark Souls. But the problem is where I play, console. On console, there's not that many competitive games, like Counter-Strike is only on Steam, Valorant was only on PC, Halo was an Xbox exclusive. You know, I don't consider COD a competitive shooter, and I don't think I could win something in a Dark Souls invasion. Let's not bring For Honor into the equation, the game is as balanced as shit from a competitive point of view, so I won't count it. But fighting games are by nature much more competitive and generally more balanced. You can't just mash buttons with Asuka and win. You have to know your character, you have to understand in what situation do what. You're not good with your character, get prepared to be beaten by the first counter character there is. I know I might be a bit exaggerated, because it's not a great achievement. Hell, I didn't even change leg, I'm still Iron, but that's not the point. What I'm trying to say is that being able to reach a goal feels great. It's not like beating a hard boss, because I'm used to it. I played Bloodborne, I played Dark Souls, I beat Bjorn in New Game Plus 13 with a straight sword. That's how much bored I was for a challenge back in my days. It's about a 1v1, me versus you, your skill versus mine. Who comes on top doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I had fun. So, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I think I will make it some sort of series out of this, not just for Guilty Gear, but I think I will play a lot more games that are out of my comfort zone. In fact, I think that this series will be called Uncomfort Zone or something along this line. Tell me what you think. The next video will probably be on Monster Hunter Rise, but I do not think it will be on the end game. It will be on the progression until I reach the end of the game, and will not include also the end game. I will probably do a Warframe video. I still have to decide, because I have a lot of games to play. Remember to be awesome, be kind, and ride safe.